our objective is to pass tax reform by the August recess. And I think that's a very aggressive timetable, but realistic and something that the President and I are very committed to doing.
So by August, voted, done, agreed.
And signed.
All right, the Treasury Secretary better hope so. A lot of people are confident that that will happen, but, you know, that's a tall order, especially given all the division on this health care law. Republicans, remember, even with a tax cut package passed, still lost 26 seats in the midterm elections with Ronald Reagan. So the timing of these things is important. Who knows that better than Doug Wead, the presidential historian? It's author of I'm telling you, this is a great book. I was reading this coming back from Washington. Game of Thorns gets you behind the scenes, what happened. And I mean really behind the scenes. But Doug is respected by everybody, so he had access to everybody, although I think some of the folks who he talked to will never, never, ever chat with him again. Doug Wead, good to have you, my friend.
Thank you. And they may lose their jobs.
And they may lose their jobs. At all points, you'll know who this is. I do want to get in that. I do want to get into high expectations here because they certainly worked against Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, they did.
And in this case, they could be working against this administration, setting a bar like get tax cuts done by August, signed, sealed, even delivered. What do you think of that?
Yeah, but they have to move, as you know, historically, because the party that's out of power almost always picks up seat. It's just a rule.
Right.
It's uncanny. And politicians come along and think, oh, I'll beat it. But Reagan couldn't beat it. Obama couldn't beat it.
I think if they lose this August deadline thing, and if they don't get them done this year, they're going to have a horrible midterm election.
I agree with you. And then there's the media.
The
media is going to say, we lost the last election. We're not going to lose this election.
You mentioned the media and the role it plays and how much it leans left. I think most journalists are liberal-leaning. They try not, they say, to espouse that and show in their program, but they do. But you got inside this because a mindset had developed that everyone thought Hillary Clinton would win. The only issue election night was what time she would come out. But how did you get this other stuff about the craziness going on in her camp that night?
Yeah.
The breaking glass, the shouting, was all that true?
It was true. First I started hearing the stories, and I was checking the sources. Some of them are Secret Service. They're different sources. And then I went to people who'd voted for Hillary, who loved Hillary, who'd worked for her and Bill over a period of decades.
And they were seeing it all kind of unravel.
I'd say, could this be possible? They said, absolutely. They said she's like a light switch both ways. Said she may be very upset and she's suddenly calm.
She didn't come out that night. John Podesta did. Or
she was deeply upset.
Tell me what was going on.
She was hurt. She was disturbed. She was broken. There were tears. There was shouting. There was shattering glass. They said that former President Bill Clinton was just totally mute, didn't open his mouth, just totally quiet and respectful. And looking back on it that night, you remember Ed Rendell came on the television and people said, how's she doing? He said, she's angry. I didn't notice that until I went back and reviewed some of the tapes and saw that.
Who was she angry at?
I think she's angry because of what happened. I mean, she outspent him 8-1 if you count the soft money. She outstaffed him 5-1. She had 960,000 people on the ground with her ground game. She had 249 newspapers endorse her against 19 of his. And he had only one thing, which was $1 billion worth of earned media.
But long before this great book, and it's going to be a bestseller. I don't care if you're left or right on this, but you had said that there were passion in his crowds, none in hers. I remember you and I talking about that months before the campaign, the election. And that came back to hurt her. The reading a cue card, you know, the same old lines, even down the same jokes. It got old.
You could see it in the numbers. And Donald Trump stayed on message. And when I would talk to people...
And he was topical. He was almost like a stand-up comedian. He'd keep it like Johnny Carson.
All the oxygen out of the air. And I told people in Trump Tower, I said, you're killing him. He's off message. They said, no, he's not off message. I said, what do you mean? He's off message. They said, no, he's got two messages. The first one is make America great again. And the second one is I'm not a politician. So when he was off message, he was on message.
Even when that certain tape came out.
Well, I don't think they expected that.
Many in the party, including Speaker Ryan, his own, vice president, there was talk that they were getting concerned.
Yeah.
But he survived that. Why in the end did he?
Well, it was a combination of him and Hillary. I mean, you look at what happened. It was staggering. Bill Clinton got so mad. You saw that scene in the book Game of Thorns where he throws his telephone off the roof. He was saying, you're losing the Catholic vote. What are you doing? When those leaked memos, emails came out about co-opting the Catholic Church, Catholic Spring, changing their doctrine, Bill Clinton was saying, get out front of that. Deny it. Say, no, we don't want to do that.
Amazing.
But they
Just
left
amazing.
it alone.
It is an amazing TikTok on what went wrong, and it's from the perspective of an historian, not some crazy cockamamie kind of person who's just like yellow journalist. I urge you to read it. It puts a definitive stamp. There'll be many books to come. This kicks them off, and it couldn't be more telling.